Let's talk in this video about creating and calling methods in C#. Let's say I have this code. First, let me actually go ahead and create a new project for this. Okay, so let's say I want to do A equals 4, maybe, then B equals 5, then I have an int C. That's a group of addition I want to do. I also have int D equals 65 and E equals 4, and I have F. So what I want to do is add this thing. So I could say C equals A plus B, then also have F equals A plus B, and I go on and on that way to perform my addition. Now, let me just have this now. This will be D plus E. Then I do the console.write on this. I'll put F. Now, when I run this, I would have to repeat these additional statements on and on like that. Now, think of this as having to do this like 1,000 times, having to write A plus B many times. And this addition is just a simple scenario. Let's say your program is probably about 15 lines of code, checking some conditions before it does its computation. You will have to write over 1,000 lines of code repeatedly, maybe 10 lines in 100 ways, and on like that. Now, methods in C# lets you reuse code by letting you call that method that performs the operation. Let's say, for example, if this program was to be a little bit complex here, and say I want to do a subtraction, for example, and I say if A is greater than B, then I subtract B from A. So I'll say C equals A minus B. But if that is not the case, I do C equals B minus A. Let me format this code properly. Here, yeah, that solves it. Now, I can go ahead and do this many ways. You know what? Let me do a console.write line of this. Write line C. Now, this is about 6 or 7 lines of code that I just wrote here. And if I want to do the same computation to find the value of D, I would have to write these same 4 lines over and over again. And this would be stressful, having to write 4 lines many times. So instead, what I can do is create a method to perform this operation for me. Now let's simplify this code and create a static method here. Call it add. Or in the case we are doing subtraction, subtract. Okay, I'll call that value. Let me call it first value, and let's call this second value. Now, what I have inside this parenthesis is what we call arguments to this method. So method takes in arguments. It's just like you want to cook. You have a pot on fire, you put in food. Food is the argument to the pot. And you start writing your code inside the curly braces that follow this method. And a method can either return something or nothing. In this case, this method is returning nothing to wherever it's been called from. That method returns a void. But if a method returns a value, it will have a return type, for example integer, double, or string, or maybe even classes. But in our case, let's still make this return void. So I'll take this code here, cut it, you know what, cut all this space, and then put it inside here, and replace the values here I'll need to declare an integer here. I'll call it result. Let me just set that, initialize it to 0. Then here I'll say result equals first value minus second value. But if that is not the case, result will be second value minus first value. Then I output result to my console. Now all this computation would happen inside this method. Then what I can do from here is just call subtract. Then I pass in the values I want to compute, for example A and B. I can also do subtract for D and E. If I run this, I would get the result just as normal as I would. Oh, there's a little bit of code error here, and it's telling me it's on line 12. Oh, my bad. I did not finish that statement. Now let me run this again. And I get the result outputted to the console for me. This code actually calls the method inside here to give me that result. Now what I can do, this is a method that does not return a value. Let me make it return a value this time around and return an integer. So what I want to do here is return a value back to wherever this is being called from. So I'll return results back to wherever this method is being called from. So what I'll do here is I would say C equals, and here I'll have F equals. This is me creating a variable that this method returns a value back to. So I can do console.writeLine C, and here I can do console.writeLine F. And if I run this, you will see the warning would go away, and then I'll still have the same results. The reason I got the warning earlier on was because I declared variables that I was not using. Let me run it again after I fix the problem, and I should get the result just the same way I did earlier on. And you can create as many methods as you want. Also, one thing you can do is create methods that have different kind of data types bearing the same name. That is called overloading, and it's a kind of polymorphism. We'll deal with that in details in coming videos, but this is just a little bit about creating and calling methods in C#. We will do a lot more when we get to our practice session. See you in another video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you will get notifications when I post new videos on this channel. See you in another video. Goodbye.